Hi guys, it's Sean again, and we're outside in an incredibly blustery afternoon. It looks fantastic. The blue skies, there's a north wind blowing, but it's incredibly difficult painting conditions. So I want to show you guys how to manage that when you've got a lot of wind. I found the lee of a church. So this is where I am, and this is pretty sheltered, but the wind is cutting in from the north. So let's see how it goes. The board's not moving too much, but I think we'll be okay. Let's get stuck into it. Lovely subject here. We've got some mop brushes here. We've got this Fumu sable brush, and we've got a Skoda number 6 and a Skoda number 2, another Fumi number 0 brush. So a range of brushes. Now I know that the paint is going to dry. I know the paint is going to dry super fast. There's some big shadows in here as well. I'm just going to get in the cloud. I mean, it's virtually a cloudless sky. Virtually, say virtually because it is virtually. It's not totally. We'll design a few little ones there. Going in for ultramarine. It's quite a pale sky today, so we'll just let that kind of drift down, do its thing. We'll bring in a little bit more pigment up here to bleed in. You can see the way that's doing that, and that should just pick out some of those. Just wash that off. We've gone in for some yellow ochre to pop in where these distant trees are. There's a whole bank of trees just here, so we'll kind of suggest those. And it's quite strong, but not everywhere. And then this colour kind of echoes all the way. Just go around these figures here, pop those in. A couple of people out walking. There's a sheep. If you can hear that sheep. It sounded like he was laughing, but he wasn't. Well, I say he wasn't, he might have been. You might have thought this was very funny. And then the warmth here. Touch of water. Designing the eye to go here. We'll retain a few of these little highlights. Take off some of these little beads of water there. And we're kind of done. I don't want anything that's going to distract the eye, so the eye, we want to come here. It's going to be darkest darks here, lightest lights here. Just got to wait for that to dry. Step 2, I'm going to take this Fumu sable brush, it's number 16. We're going to pop in a grey blue mixture here. We've got some ultramarine and a touch of neutral tint as well for these distant trees that we've got in here. I can afford to have those a bit darker there. tell this is going to dry rather rapidly. This is just liquid going in here. Just let that bleed off. Over here I want to design it a little bit stronger in places, not everywhere, but just a little bit. So we've got some lost and found edges going on. And then I'll take a touch out with tissue here, because this is where we want part of our focal point to be. And that should get more clear water. Run off okay. If you can't see that, I'm just tilting the board. If you watch any of my other videos, you'll know to take out that little splash. But I do this a lot to encourage the pigment to blend and bleed in. So there we go. It's drying up quite nicely out here. I'm now going to move into a number 8 mop brush and pop in. There's a big bright yellow straight into the neat yellow ochre, and a touch of cad yellow. It's coming in here. It's stronger than that. There we go, a bit better. Coming in there all the way across. And there are some grasses here, and then some lighter greens, same colours, popped into the mixtures that we had. Like a blue, like a green grey. Green grey? Yeah, kind of a green grey. In here. And then getting a little bit stronger, but I want it to be a little bit warmer. So with those same mixtures, I'm going to pop in some burnt sienna just to warm that up a tad. Hopefully that will mix into there. I've got a bit of dry brush, which is nice. Definitely want that. We'll let that bleed and blend, and you can hear the wind absolutely howling. We are in shelter here in the lee of the church, so this is useful. This is all dried. Amazing how quickly. Let's have a look for a number 6 Skoda brush. Kind of a little bit of dry paintwork going in here, just to encourage the eye. You don't need to lavishly stick to the pencil marks. Towards there. Some of this we will take out. Touch of neutral tint into there as well. There we go. When this is dry, we can put the fencing in, and we can deal with these figures. I'm just going to try and retain some of the light around these figures, especially the guy on the left. Looks like a man and a woman. Good. That's that. So this is kind of blending and blurring these mixtures. I want the same to happen here as well. Some of it will be dry, some of it will be wet into wet. Look, you can see that. Just suggestions of A little bit of fencing going on there. And they're going off here. Almost like a pathway we've got coming in here. This curve, quite important. And while we're doing that, we'll come stronger with the green. You can see the mixtures I've got there: ultramarine, burnt sienna, yellow ochre, popping that in. Same on this side. We'll keep this dry brush though, just to create the effect of the soil. I need to take that out there. This needs to be blurred off a touch. So you can see tonally we're building up the paint in here. And this is going to dry off quite quickly. It's just super fast drying. While we're on that, we'll pop in these trees. They're kind of very interesting trees here. I'll pop in this main branch. I'm not worried about that going off there. We'll sort that out in a second. It may even be a happy accident. This happens a lot in painting. It may turn out to be absolutely good and fine. It may well be. We will see in a second, but this, because it's so windy, you can see how the paint is virtually drying. On the brush. Touch of ultramarine for these shadow sides into this mixture. With a touch of neutral tint. Yeah, that needs to be a bit more grey. Just looking, this whole bunch of shadows all over, still a bit blue. So I want a mixture here of sharp edges, lost and found edges. We'll go in for a number 6, Skoda. Paint is drying incredibly fast. Same 3 mixtures: neutral tint, ultramarine, and burnt sienna. Drying out rapidly on the palette. The paint is drying out really quick. Touch of dry brush in places. We'll pop that in now. So you can see I'm kind of mixing up colours just from these three. Trying to capture the essence of what's in front of my eyes. And with a finer brush. All kinds of twiggery branches coming out. We have foreshortening as well, where we've got branches come in. I seem to be talking very static out today, but I think it's because I'm concentrating a bit. And because things are drying super fast on my palette, so I can't hang around with that. I need more liquid. Some of these. Now this tree, there's no foliage on it. I noticed this last year and the year before when I was here painted this subject here quite a lot. I didn't know the painting can be completely different. So I haven't referenced it at all. I'm just taking what I see in front of me. But I've noticed that even though we're kind of like 3/4 of the way into April, that this tree still hasn't got no foliage. I'm looking really carefully. It's not even there. So it's all about the tree. So standing back to look, see what I've got to do next. Pop in this fence, some lost and found edges there, some dry brush. Oh, so same on this side. It's going to connect in with these figures. I'm just trying to tie up some of this, mix it up with some burnt sienna as well, bit of liquid. Kind of broken fence we have here. That will do. Go into the figures. Let's focus on the figures now, shall we? And we'll also look at some shadows. But before we do that, let's just sort out this kind of weird shadow here with some clear water. There we go. That'll just do its own thing in there. This is just clear water. I'm just trying to define some of these edges. I'm not overly impressed with the blue on that, so that's what I'm trying to do there. dampen off some of that. That's a bit better. It does need to be darker on this side. Oh, you can spend ages on trees. You could just be here forever doing this, but quite satisfying, to be honest. Especially when you get this. I mean, it really is a winter tree, but in spring it still hasn't done its thing. And by that, I mean the foliage hasn't happened yet. Stop. I can't stop. It's too addictive. All right, there we go. There's a lot of shadows along here. I'm just looking carefully. So we're going to need to mix up some shadow color, guys, to go in here. This is going to be cooler going back. I've got some crimson. There's a bit of leftovers that was in there. Ultramarine, crimson, and I want these to be quite indistinct. There was a bit of leftovers on there, but that's absolutely fine. I just need to make sure that these are I need this here to be wet, bleed in. So I'm going to throw that down that way. Same mixtures of colours. Some lost and found edges on here as well. This is water, taking off some of that pigment. Fingers, always good. Just need that another layer to come in here. And in places we'll warm it up a little bit. The same colours I've been using all the way through. And then we'll take out some of the stuff we don't want in. And we'll let it do its own thing. And because I put warmth in there, that'll pull this forward a bit. Which is nice. Just liquid here, just water. When I'm saying liquid, I'm meaning water around here. You can see that now bleeding in. That's what I want. That's the effect I want. It's bleeding into here. Just this whole diffused area, and then sharpness coming on with these characters. I'm going to pop those in. We'll go in with a number 8 mop brush to do that. I'm going to go in for a kind of yellowy orange for this character here. The one next to it, blue. And then I want them to bleed in the seconds. And they will. There we go. They're bleeding in nicely. I want that to bleed there. Small brush. So the Escoda number 2. Quite dry mixture of burnt sienna. The legs. I'm going to walk backwards on these. That means starting from the bottom up. So this can bleed in. Touch of neutral tint in here as well. Character needs to be darker. Little error there. Looks like it's going to be a dog. There are several ways to remove paint, but the difficulty with neutral tint is it's powerful. And we got wind. We'll get rid of that. Yeah, won't even notice once that's done. There we go. Pop in an arm. Again, this is number 6 now. The fine brush. From there. From there. I'll pop in the heads. And looking towards each other. Are they coming forward? Are they coming back? Right. That's for the viewer to decide. Quite like the way this is done here, but I just need to take out some of this. Create a few highlights in there. And I think we're getting ready for the shadow part. We will pop in a little bit of the fence in here, just to tie this up. Talked about this a lot, about unifying and tying things up together. It always helps to put in bits and bobs and just general things. We don't really need to know what they are. One of those general things that is the kind of shadow areas here. And then I need to diffuse them out. Pop in a touch of this purple mix in here. Just let that blend and bleed in. Just soften off that edge because I don't want that to jar. So light is light, dark is dark here. That was the whole idea. And you can see that that's starting to happen now. The light's coming from this way, so we can afford to pop a little bit of this character a bit darker. There we go. and over here as well. We're kind of designing a bit now. We're trying to get the eye to go over here to 100%. That will do. That was a bit of neutral tint going in there, by the way. I'm squinting my eyes up just to pop in over here. Look at the board. Yeah, it's windy. Very windy. Right, we're getting near the end now. We're going to pop the shadows in, guys, and then we're done. You know, the mixture, ultramarine, alizair crimson, and the light is coming in from this way. There's big shadows under these trees. So I'm mindful of how that's going to look on the paper. I just put a little test in there. I want to retain the light in here as well. But most of the light is coming in across from this way. So that's what we need to be mindful of. There are banks and banks of trees on this side. So we just want to get these in super fast. Clear water off the edge here. We do not want all of these sharp. Some of them we do. Some of them we don't. This is just clear water again. Just going to move the board slightly. And this is where we're creating light now. A little bit blue, more blue in here. Just let that go in. And then down here, a touch more of burnt sienna into this shadow here, just to warm the front part up a little bit. So we've got a variety in the shadows. That's the whole point. And these shadows, the tree shadows, they just blur. It's a thing to be mindful of. Just gonna blur away. Just let that blend in a bit. I'll just tip that up. Take out a few of these splashes. There are a couple of there, and of course we'll put the characters' shadows in a second. On the base of this tree there's a lot more shadows. The reason I'm popping the shadow colour in here now is just to unify all of this, to join up these different shapes, these different colours. That's the reason. Still messing about with pigment here. Let's go off there, a little bit darker. Come in even darker here. Now this is dried, I can see what I need to do here. It's the big old shadow colour. It was very Norfolk, wasn't it? Big old shadow colour in here. And I need to retain around these characters this brightness, otherwise the eye won't go there. There we go. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. There is, and there always is, even on a day like today, a few birds in the sky, not many. Final touch. Grab my tin, painting tin, bring out the Jean Brilliant, Juan Brilliant, whichever way you want to say it, which is a mixture of, is by Holbein. Dry off the brush, you can see it there, beautiful. It's yellow ochre and white. Just a touch in. The light's coming this way, so remember, we need to be mindful, and the board is trying to move. Okay. Easy to go a bit nuts on this if we're not careful. I always like to pop a bit of this in again, just to pick up a few highlights. Nothing too mad. There we go. Done. Pop the lid back on. Get rid of that. The best way to view this is if it's in the shade, and we've got a lot of sunlight at the moment. I'm going to take out some of that. It's a little bit potent. But I think we're done, guys. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that one, guys. I will take off the tape and we'll see the result. We'll go take a photograph of that in the shade. But anyway, happy painting. And remember, get outside. It's fantastic, even in a windy day. Take care now. Bye-bye till the next one.